Welcome back to a special episode of the Hearthstone Report. We got news. Big news.
Oh boy.
We got big news.
As a matter of fact, the news are live.
The news are live as of this video just being recorded and being out. The news just went live tonight. So that means in the game, obviously, the update hit. And the news are nerfs, which everyone knew they were coming. We didn't know exactly when. A lot of people speculated we'd get the nerf on day 2 or 3 of the expansion. As early as that,
Nerfs, he says.
Nerfs. I mean, they're considered nerfs. Some of them are realistically nerfs, but some of them are dubious, and we're going to discuss them. The obvious problem that a lot of people had is the very polarizing meta in the Hearthstone Standard, which was all dominated by Galakron and Quest Shamans, and apparently Blizzard has heeded everybody's calls and
have they though?
I mean, they have, apparently, allegedly. Yeah, we're the media. In this case, we are supposed to stay neutral, but.
Yeah, we're totally commentary. Trust me.
Let's look at what we got here.
Well, Corrupt Elementalist.
Yes.
This one. Mm-hmm. She now costs 6 instead of 5.
That is a nerf.
That is a nerf.
That is a flat-out nerf to Galakron Shaman.
I think that card is still very strong.
Probably.
But
especially with the quest, it still summons 8 attack and rush.
Yikes.
That's a lot.
Slapslurper now has 1 attack instead of 2.
That's also a definitive nerf to Shaman.
Yes.
This card's probably still good.
This card is probably still good, and I feel like the more control-oriented and combo-oriented Galakron varieties and quest varieties
might not care as much.
Don't care about the nerf. Yeah. You know what cares about the nerf? Murloc Shaman.
Yes.
You nerfed the wrong deck.
Huh. I mean, they nerfed a bunch of cards. This card is... we looked at this last time. It's by deck inclusion the most played card and most ran card in the game. By far.
Again, it's a good card, but again, this does not nerf the deck that people are having a problem with nearly as much as it does other decks that play.
Maybe they didn't intend to just nerf specifically Galakron. Why not nerf just... I think this is a good nerf. I like this. I think this is a really good adjustment. We just slightly take away from a power level of one card that combines all the Shaman archetypes, putting a bit of a cap on all future ones to come.
I mean, like to be fair, it's a fair nerf. I'm just saying that if your plan was to nerf Galakron Shaman... This doesn't really hit that nearly as much.
Others, likely.
Here's an interesting one. Faceless Corruptor now has 4 attack instead of 5.
No, this is a good nerf, for sure.
Yes, as a matter of fact, some people say, and I'm not even fully gonna disagree, that this nerf was still a relatively light one.
Yeah.
Because you are still, if you're putting this on 1-1, effectively getting 7/7 in stats for 5.
Yes. This is still a good minion. Still a good card.
It's still really strong.
Yeah, but just a little bit weaker. And I like the way that they approached it. I like that they didn't destroy everything right off the bat.
Yes.
Because we've seen them do that, and when they do, we complain. Like, they change Serenite Chain Gang, and they take away Leeching Poison, and 2 or 3 entire deck archetypes are ruined instantly. And I like the fact that they are approaching it a bit more carefully.
I think this could have totally been a 4/3 and it would have been fine. But, whatever. It is worth noting that a lot of things right now have 8 health. So... For those, like all of the 8/8s, like the Giants, a lot of the Dragons, it doesn't really matter.
It's still not.
Against more aggro archetypes, usually planning to deal like 3 or 4 anyway, so it also doesn't matter much.
It's not a significant number. It's not going to kill the card. It's a slight one. Slight adjustment.
Now here is a questionable thing.
Yes.
Mogul Flash Shaper. There you go.
Famous one.
He's now 9 mana.
He's now 9 mana, which you can look at from 2 sides. One, yes, he's more expensive, so he's going to be harder to play, and he won't be played as early. Or he'll cost more mana on regular boards. But on the other hand, his purpose is to be evolved. And when he's evolved, he now gives you a 10-drop. A list of 10 drops is better than the available 8 drops in the standard game.
Yeah, so there is only one meta, I believe, well, one cycle where it would have been a really good nerf.
Kobolds, maybe, right?
I was gonna say Old Gods.
That too, yeah.
Because you had your like 6/6 Cthulhu and your 5/7 Nazar.
They were all understated. That's correct.
Because the Old Gods are horrible if you don't get a battle cries, barring Yasharaj, who doesn't have the battle cry.
That is true. They were.
But even Yasharaj is very suboptimal if you don't build your deck around it.
Correct. So you can look at this from both sides, and I honestly I think we're not going to really know until we see it in play. I think when it comes down to it, like, effectively it's still gonna be a nerf, but a slight one.
The thing is, if your opponent has like 5 minions on board or something, which an aggro deck could very feasibly do, and you maybe got 1 as well, then all of a sudden you already have 6 minions that only cost 3.
Yes.
And by the point that your opponent has that many minions, you can really easily afford it.
Yes, but by the other hand, on the other side, it would have cost you 1, so it is still a 2-mana nerf, which is, in terms of cost, this is a full 2-mana nerf. It doesn't take anything away from that, so that is something. I would rather have this cost 7 consistently turn into an 8-drop than it costs 9 turn into a 10-drop. I think the value is on the side of the mana cost there, only slightly, but that's sort of my opinion. But we don't know. We will see. I think this,
interesting nerf.
like all the other cards, this is still going to be okay, still going to be good, but maybe combine all those nerfs we've seen. And they actually, I really like this. The more I think about it, I really like this list. No nerfs that stick out, no card killers. Combine all the nerfs we've seen, and the deck might just be appropriate now.
Yeah, people have said there were complaints about Death Rattle Rogue with the Apothecary that weren't addressed. I have myself noticed that Face Hunter isn't affected, which already was a pretty good deck, and of course, in part because it beats Shaman, which Shaman becoming less prevalent
a bit more so.
Makes Shaman counters not as prevalent either. But this might be the thing where we get like 3 or so decks that are somewhat equally at the top, which I guess is what we're looking for.
You also have Pirate and Control Warriors still sitting there. You have the Quest Shaman, obviously, or the Quest Galakron Shaman. It's all sort of the bubble there. Dragon's Pack is actually another card that I've heard of that wasn't addressed. That a lot of people wanted to be addressed.
That's true. Dude, Dragon's Pack, if you're playing aggro, that's just that. Like the moment it comes down, you can almost always resign if you're playing board-based aggro.
It's near Spreading Plague sort of memories.
Yeah,
like it's that sort of card actually. It's not as many minions, but it is a similar sort of card that gives you a similar sort of vibe. And if you don't know, if you weren't around when Spreading Plague was around, it was a card that came with the Frozen Throne. It was a Druid spell, and initially it cost 5 mana.
Yes.
And what it did is it would summon a 1/5 with Taunt, as long as your opponent had more minions than you.
Yes.
So, say you played a Murloc Shaman, you had 5 Murlocs out, your opponent didn't, he'd play a 5-mana spell, and he would essentially summon a 5/25 stats with Taunt, which would be almost impossible to get through. So that was an aggro shutdown card for the ages, and this feels similar to it.
To be fair, there is actually a card that is in the meta, in the rotation, that I swear to God, most people don't know exists. And that is the 2/1 that has Battle Cry, silence an enemy minion with Taunt.
Correct.
From Rastakan's Rumble, which...
Shieldbreaker.
Exactly, Shieldbreaker, which no one plays. Maybe that's a consideration if you really starting having issues with that. I don't know. Not the point of this video.
Yeah, but then just play a regular silence minion, maybe. I think Shieldbreaker, there has to be a specific reason for it to be there. Over a Spellbreaker or an Owl. Or other silence mechanics?
Yeah, mana efficiency because it's relatively cheap, but yeah, whatever. One thing that we also haven't mentioned yet is that these cards, of course, as always, can be disenchanted for the full dust value.
Huge.
And unless you're literally playing them right now, there's no reason not to do it.
Do it. Huge.
Because if you need them at another point, you can just recraft them for the same cost.
If you have not been listening to anything we said so far, this is the one thing you need to know. You can I'm going to repeat what you just said. You can, because I like to put stress on it, you can dust these cards for a certain amount of time for their full value. If you do not currently play them, you do that. Because you can always recraft them without having any loss whatsoever. But if you don't, you get the best price for your buck.
Also, that is not the only thing that has changed.
No.
And honestly, something that is maybe more impactful, not to ladder play, but to a different game mode.
Battlegrounds meta. We got some Battlegrounds change, and some of them are earth-shocking, some of them I really like, and some of them are suspicious. So let's get into all of them. JJ, what do we have?
Well, first of all, the Boogie Monster.
The Boogie Monster.
This shows the regular version, it doesn't matter. Has been moved from tier 5 to tier 4.
I like this.
Yeah, I mean, this was a really weak card. Now it might be more playable.
Now it might be better. Cool, I like that.
Mechano Egg, same thing, moved from 5 to 4.
I don't like this. It was already pretty good.
It really wasn't that good.
It was kind of good. Because you get your Death Rattle synergies. You get basically you get a Khadgar and a what's his name? My dude with a Death Rattle.
Baron Riven there?
Riven there, that sort of thing. Or you just put them in a mech deck and buff them. I can't say I like this too much.
I mean,
I don't like the card in general.
A lot of the synergies that it has are the same as cards like Harvest Golem and Makaru, except that the body this summons is bigger, but it's not that big either. So in Battlegrounds terms, there's a lot of bigger stuff than 8/8s. So
I'm just not a fan of eggs as a card idea or mode, so I might be slightly biased there. What else we got?
Well, we got the Beast moved from tier 4 to 3.
I like this.
I honestly think this is a card that could have just been removed, but
very
maybe
similar to the Boogie Monster.
Maybe people will actually now play it.
Yeah.
For the brief period where the big stats are still
it just dominates
impactful,
everything, yeah.
And then you can sell it off later.
You get this on like tier 2 first time, you put it down, you're gonna win your next couple of games because no one can match these stats. So I like it.
It's tier 3, but yeah.
Yeah, so what's that?
I think you said 2, but it doesn't matter.
No, on tier 2 first try. Tier 3 first try. Cold Light Seer.
Yes, Cold Light Seer has been moved from Tavern tier 2 to 3.
I love this.
I think this is a good change. First of all, because it's a really strong card, because health buffs are probably one of the strongest things in general
they're the most important
in Battlegrounds. And in Murloc specifically, it's like also, you want to build your board first before you play Cold Light Seer anyways, so it's not even that bad.
It's not terrible. That is true.
I don't think this ruins Murlocs, which is good because Murlocs are already one of the weaker archetypes.
What? No, they're very strong since Pagurgle.
Are they?
Aren't they like top tribe right now?
I honestly haven't been keeping up.
They're very strong since Pagurgle. They're very strong since Pagurgle.
I still see a lot of mech and demon though.
Yeah, I mean, of course, but Murlocs have also been very strong.
Well, anyways, this I think is a very reasonable nerf. If just a slight one, which is probably exactly what we could have used there.
I would tend to agree with that.
It says here, Primal Fin Lookout changed last week. It says in parentheses. Move from tier 4 to 5.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's minion generation. It can give you Tox Fins and buffs and all that stuff basically for free. So, yeah, this, I mean, it's appropriate. It's one of the strongest cards for Murlocs, I think.
I completely disagree. I've never seen the value in this card in other than Toxfin, which is a gamble, and in Battlegrounds, and this is a 5-star card. 5 or 4-star seems completely out of hand, but maybe I just don't recognize the
you know this card, right?
Vaguely. That came with Witchwood? Yeah, I've seen it.
Not in Battlegrounds anymore.
Not in Battlegrounds. Nightmare Amalgam is out. The meta is out. The meta's gone.
What is interesting to note is that the Curator is still there.
The Curator is still there. And it might be time for the Curator to shine, because the Curator is now the only hero with access to an Amalgam. Which means that...
Well, maybe Rafal.
Yes, which means that pretty much the ceiling, the sort of high roll lies with Battlegrounds, because we've seen it lies exclusively with the Curator.
Yeah, so the thing is, and I've literally complained about this before, like, feels like whenever I play Curator, I get regular Amalgam, and it's like, once you have a regular Amalgam, the Curator Amalgam is almost useless, because it's just a worse version of the regular Amalgam. It can't triple and all that stuff. Now, without regular Amalgam, it's all of a sudden really strong.
It becomes much better, even, yes.
Because there is no good alternative.
Correct.
So that's big.
Yeah, Curator should see a nice buff from this. A lot of people are going to be looking for Curator.
2 more things. Somewhat minor, I would argue. Brand has been rotated out.
Brand Bronzebeard has been rotated out. I'm cool with this.
Bartendron is now back in.
I love this. Bartendron, my favorite hero in Battlegrounds nowadays.
And I believe your most played and the one with most wins.
My most winningest and my most played Battlegrounds hero, even throughout the time that it was rotated out. And now it's back in, and it's great. I'm looking forward to playing with it again. It's fantastic. Looking forward to getting the Beast on like turn 3 and stuff. It's gonna be great. I like this. I like this change a lot. So that's all the news.
That is all the news.
That is all the news. We're gonna keep it concise
I guess
here. Yes.
One thing to note is that they said they might have more balance patches in January, but it's a might, and they're still looking at stuff. It's not concrete news.
It's gonna depend on how this one turns out. Overall, if I had to give this like a letter grade, I'd say like B+, A- sort of thing. It's I like it a lot. I like a lot what they did. And it's always better to under adjust a bit than to over adjust, because you can always it's fine. It's a fine tuning matter, because if those 4, I'm talking about the standard game, those 4 nerfs to Shaman shave just 3% of the win rate, it's a different type of deck all of a sudden. That's what what's the difference was with Odd Paladin, for example. Odd Paladin had a 60% win rate at times, which is too much. It's insane. When it goes down to 56, 57, it's a completely different situation already.
Yeah, and I think they actually handled Odd Paladin relatively well back in the day because they didn't destroy the deck either.
Yes,
it was still playable.
Yeah.
It was by no means oppressive.
They took one key card, but it was still top of the meta after that, but just no longer as insane. And the same might be the case for Galakrond Shaman here, and we'll have to wait and see. I'm very curious about the Battlegrounds thing. I'm very, very curious to see how it turns out without Amalgam, and with Bartender coming back, how that's going to shape out, because it's going to be very, very interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to playing some more of that. We're going to definitely do that on the channel too, so look forward to that. A lot more gameplays to come over the holidays and leading into New Year. We're gonna grind out some Hearthstone. And hopefully play some good stuff there. If you enjoyed this video, if it was informative to you, please drop a like on it. That would help us out immensely. And leave us a comment, subscribe to TrashcanTV, that's the YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell twice, not once, but twice. And set to all notifications so YouTube can notify you. However, they probably still won't sometimes, which is why you should also go the extra mile and join our Discord server. The link to that is in the description. You can talk to us there personally in our community. We can hang out, talk about Hearthstone, get better at the game together, all that stuff, and you'll be notified about all our videos that are coming out, which is useful since YouTube somehow doesn't do it sometimes, and that's sucky, but that's why we have the Discord. Thank you for watching, and until next time, JJ.
That's it.
That's it.